We have an exclusive. The heartlessness of these cops who decided to evict mothers and their children from cars, impound the cars, and made them sleep outside. Let me take you to the first video. Here it is.
The three of you, who is in charge? Okay, so you're planning on putting this woman on foot, like with nowhere to live with her son and her dog. That's what you guys are planning on doing. Does that look like it's something that should be done? You guys feel like there's any humanity in this? You guys want to take this woman, like it's like coming into winter, it's cold, and you want her to be on foot, like it doesn't matter? That is unacceptable and absolutely unacceptable. I cannot believe you guys don't have the heart. Like you must have some kind of heart.
Should she stay with you in your motorhome?
You must have some kind of heart.
So she can stay with you?
Well, I was supposed to.
We're actually helping each other in the community.
We're able to help her?
We're trying the best we can to help. You guys are destroying.
So she can stay with you tonight?
You guys are destroying. You're destroying people.
I was asking if he was.
You're destroying people.
Let's put up the picture of the family. Okay? San Diego police impounded the cars of two unhoused mothers and their two children on November 12th. It forced them to spend the night outside. And they knew that's exactly what would happen if they impounded these vehicles. The mother, Lisa, and June did find temporary accommodation following the YouTube post about their eviction. A neighbor caught the incident where June is packing what belongings she can carry. Citizen journalist Carol Meeks then interviewed the families about the incident. Here's some of that.
We're telling you right now, we don't care how far out of date, we don't care how much, what steps you've taken. They just.
So did you tell them that by them towing your vehicles that your children were going to be out on the street and in the elements?
Yes, we did.
They cut us off and turned their heads.
Yep, they cut us off and just kept on doing their job. And of course, it took forever for the sergeant to get there. And then, basically he stood his ground. And he says, well, you knew this was driving is a privilege, not a right. And I'm sorry, but I disagree with that because I have a disabled child. That is my vehicle to transport my child.
I hear coughing right now.
Yeah.
Which was probably made worse by having to sleep in a tent last night.
Definitely. It was freezing. I mean, the ground was, and all of our belongings got wet. So we're in the tent and they're wet and it's already cold and we're freezing.
So you slept here in a tent last night, you and your children?
My son and I slept in the tent and they slept outside.
I'm gonna say this, if they don't get you a room for tonight, I'm gonna try and find and pay for a room for you tonight.
Thank you.
Because this is just ridiculous. And all the city council people who just ran and got elected, maybe this should be a priority, finding housing for single moms and their children who city officials are forcing onto the streets in cold weather at night.
We were able to talk directly with Carol Meeks, who documented this and provided humanity where humanity was not. And Carol says, and I quote, San Diego city officials had some pretty screwed up priorities when they put making money by impounding poor folks' vehicles to generate fines and eventually sell them. So that's the scheme. They sell the cars when a person can't pay it. When people could not afford to reclaim them over the safety of the children they put into the streets to sleep. The mothers told Meeks they could not afford the back penalties and fees for registration on their vehicles amounting to more than $1,000 each. They expected to lose their vehicles to the city, which once again is part of the scheme. San Diego's regional task force on homelessness estimates about 8,500 people are unhoused in that county. More than 12,000 households had at least one member experiencing homelessness last year. Before I go on deeper, Let me remind everyone, especially to the mothers, don't let them make you believe what you are experiencing is a personal failure. It's a policy failure. This is an inappropriate response to the least of these. And I'm sure you have paid your fair share of taxes, both of you. And I am sorry that you're in the situation you're in. Tough times happen. But those who are put in authority to provide solutions should not make it worse. And that's what they did. The city commented on the police and their decision to take the vehicles. Here's the comment. The registered owners of the vehicle or vehicles have previously received warnings and citations, as well as information for the city's safe parking program. The officers also contacted SDPD's homeless outreach team, who responded to offer additional services to the owners. SDPD is tasked with enforcing vehicle code violations, regardless of housing status, for expired registrations, outstanding parking tickets, oversized vehicles, recreational vehicles, attached, unattached trailers, registration-related violations, or parking during unauthorized hours, among others. You gotta get out of thinking somehow it's fair to execute policies like this against individuals who can't afford it. That's not fair. That's not good. It's not good policy. It's bad. If your policy lacks humanity, think about the irony of that. Who wrote the policy? Humans did. We did. And the policy is contrary to the very nature of our being. Does that make sense to you? There's a GoFundMe for the two mothers. I want to put it up. Let's help them as much as we can. Help these babies as much as we can. The GoFundMe page, Two Moms and Children Homeless and Abandoned for the women. It was set up this week and has raised more than $12,000. You can provide assistance as well. We're back to a real challenge, right? I just read the stats to you. The homelessness issue, or unhoused dynamic in that county is extreme. What has the government done to remedy it? Well, not much. And when they are faced with an opportunity to fix or perhaps provide grace, they do not. Places like the city of Atlanta, they passed laws that prohibited cops from arresting for what's called a crime of survival. Meaning if a person is homeless and they're asleep, if they're unhoused, unsheltered, and they're asleep on private property, that's technically criminal trespass. But city of Atlanta police, they're told you can't arrest them. That's a crime of survival. Here are the other things you can do instead of arresting them. We fought for that legislation for years in the city of Atlanta, and other cities have done so. This one, obviously not. But at least one provides a remedy while the other makes the problem worse. Jordan, thoughts here?
Like you say, there's no humanity in these statutes. They have this rigid application that only is going to negatively affect people who are in unstable housing situations. And when the penalty is a fine, basically just means you can do whatever you want if you're wealthy. So you can see how this plays out in all of these different areas, all these civil statutes. So I feel really bad for these parents. And the cop also, what's his deal? Saying, oh, are you gonna take him in? Like that's the solution. The solution should not be some bystander filming it because they feel bad for these people to take them in. That's not a solution to the problem. This problem is systemic. Solution is a system where everyone can thrive. Everyone makes a living wage or has enough to provide, for themselves and their family and afford the cost of rent, which is growing rapidly. Across the country, we've seen rents skyrocket in some year over year at like double-digit percents and sometimes even higher. In major cities, it's been like sometimes 20 and 30%. We've seen housing prices are extremely high. Even just having a stable place to live is becoming increasingly out of reach, especially for people in the working class. So I feel bad for this family or this group of people. I wish them the best. And also, again, it illustrates how cops in practice aren't really there to protect and serve. They're just there to serve the interests of capital.
Yeah, and once again, This was all part of a scheme for them to get money.